Start with explaining of one of the most talented university. Assalamualaikum. This is Yasir from the Department of Computer Science, Veg KKT. In this video, I am going to present financial presentation on the Oracle database. So here's the agenda. These are the topics that I will cover in this video. Number 1, group functions. Number 2, views. Number 3, constraints. Number 4, subqueries. So firstly, we should know that what is the Oracle SQL. Structured query language SQL is a set of statements with which all programs and user access data in an Oracle database. Oracle SQL is a RDBMS that used to control and maintain the database. So Oracle is the name of some company that create the Oracle. Oracle is nothing but is a RDBMS, that is relational database management system or relational database management software that is used to control and maintain the database. Topic number 1, group functions. What is the group functions? Let's have some definitions. Group functions are mathematical functions to operate on sets of rows to give one result per set. The types of group functions also called aggregate functions. So aggregate function is calculate the value and give a single value in return. So what are the group functions? So these are the one of the functions that is used in Oracle SQL. Number 1 is min, that defines a minimum. It returns the minimum value from the set of values. So it returns a single value in a multiple values. Max, that is maximum. So it returns the maximum value from set of values. Sum, it returns the addition from the given values. Multiple values, in multiple values, it returns a single value to calculate all the values. Number 4, average. It returns the average from given values. Number 5, count. It returns the total number of rows. And number 6 and 7, variance and standard deviation. These are the statistical functions that returns variance and standard deviations. So these are the group functions, or we can say that aggregate functions. Mostly aggregate functions used in a SQL server, while the group functions are keywords used in Oracle. So these are the outputs, or you can say syntax of how we can use minimum, maximum, sum, average, count, variance, and standard deviation functions. In first line, you can say that select min employee, EMP salary from employee. So from the employee table, it returns the minimum salary of an employee. It returns a single value. And select max, it returns the maximum value. And number 3 is sum. It returns all the employee salaries and addition all of them and give a single value. Average, count, variance, standard work same. Number 2, views. So what is a view? A view is a virtual that does not physically exist. Rather, it is created by a query joining one or more tables. So views nothing but as a virtual table that is used when you have a complex query and you don't want to return over and over again. So it can make by using multiple tables and join them. So is the syntax that how you can create, alter, or drop a view. In first create view, and then you can write a view name as select. In which select, after select, you have to define the columns that you want to show in a view from the tables, inner joins, on table, etc. You can join more than one table in a single view. If you want to edit the view, you can alter, create or replace view name as selected column name from the table. And third one is drop. Drop means delete. If you want to delete a view, you can delete by using drop view and view name. An example of view that how we create in Oracle, create view name VW STDO info, that is student information, as select students, that is table, and dot name students dot roll number, department dot def name. From the table, it is the first table, and inner join is department, that is the second table, and we connect and join on the condition of def id, students dot def id equal to department dot def id. Number three, constraints in Oracle SQL. So, what is a constraints in Oracle? A constraint class is an optional part of a creatable statement or alterable statement. A constraint is a rule to which data must conform. Constant names are optional. So, constraint is optional. You can write in a creatable, or you can don't write if you don't want. So it is a rule that we define, say, when we create something like create table or create view, etc. So what are the constraints? These are some types of constraints that we use in Oracle. Number one, not null, that specifies that this column cannot hold null value. So not null means you cannot insert a null value. Primary key specify the column that uniquely identifies a row in the table. The identify column must be defined as not null. So if you create a primary key, you cannot write a value repeated again and again. For example, if you want to save a primary key row with 1, so you cannot write 1 again. So it is constraint. So you cannot not null as well. Number three is unique. Specify that values in a column must be unique. So it works as a primary key, but in some different manner. So unique defines a uniqueness of the column. Foreign key. What is a foreign key? Specify that the values in a column must correspond to values in referred memory key column. So it is a constraint that defines a value in both tables. Primary in a two tables by using joins. You can create a column in a first table, and you can create a same column in a second table. So number fifth is check. What is a check? Check specifies that values in a column must be unique. Examples of constraints. So this is an example of all the constraints in a single table. In which I define that the employee number enter not null, constraint EMP, primary key. So these not null and primary keys are the constants, and for CNIC unique, every person has a unique CNIC. So not null department ID cannot be null, and the salary decimal constraint check salary 10,000. So you cannot insert a value below the 10,000. And last one is a foreign key, which is department ID. In both tables, the department and the student has a def ID that relate each other. Number four is subquery. So what is a subquery in a Oracle SQL? Subquery is a query inside a query. You can use a subquery anywhere that you use an expression. So You can see this in graphics, query and the subquery, parent query and nested inner query. Outside query is called a parent query, while the nested query is also called a inner query. So syntax of subquery: select columns names from the table where we we have to write a query in select query. So an example of subquery, so in which I have taken that select EMP ID, EMP name, and EMP salary from the employee. Where employee salary, select max employee salary from the employee. So it is an example of how we can write a subquery, and there is a output of this query, which is written that employee ID 5, EMP name Yasser Amin, employee salary 78,000. Thanks.